Lahiting, hello everyone and welcome to my Queer channel. I'm your host Queer-chan and today we're going to continue looking at the ChibiPokeHouse line. Now the last two videos we've looked at 2 out of the 3 sets that I owned as a child. As I've said, unfortunately the originals of those sets were lost in the moves, so we've looked at the new ones that I've acquired since then. Well, today we're going to have a look at the oldest of my sets, and of course the first set I ever received as a young child, and that is the Type A, which, as you can see if you're familiar with the Pokemon films and franchise, is Shamuti Island. Now, as a young child, I had a bit of an unhealthy obsession with the second Pokemon film, and that obsession focused primarily upon the Pokemon Lugia. I was an absolutely rabid Lugia fan. Anything that had, how I am now with Neimoidians is how I was then with Lugia. Anything that even had a picture of Lugia on it, I wanted it. I was desperate for it. Which, given my location at the time and the fact that we were about to move, wasn't particularly convenient. We were just at the tail end of living in England for the second time. I'm actually now back here for the third time in my life. We were just about to move to Israel, and unfortunately, as I'm sure my UK listeners are aware, we do tend to get stuff, or at least we did tend to get stuff a bit later than the rest of the world, and that included the new Pokemon toys. Somehow my mother managed to find a very cute little Lugia plush and then a second one of it. I had the talking flapping Lugia. My dad actually went to Japan at one point that year and brought me back a few different Lugia pieces, but other than that there was next to nothing in the UK. So when we moved to Israel and I discovered this set online, I knew instantly that I had to do everything in my power to have it, simply because of who it was included with. A very, very beautiful Lugia figure, who has unfortunately seen a bit of damage. I think I almost ripped his wing off at one point. Now, as you can see, compared to the other ChibiPokeHouse figures, this one is actually substantially bigger. In fact, I dare say it's closer to the size, if not exactly the size, of one of the standard figures, which I was desperate for. I wanted a standard Lugia figure so much. So when I saw the set and I saw that it included a close to standard sized, Lugia figure, I knew I had to have this. Before we go on, I'll just show you the other figure that it comes with is Slowking. You unfortunately only get 2 figures with this set, which I believe is the lowest number of figures you get of the larger sets, particularly given that you get the exact same number of figures with the smaller clamshell sets. I think there is actually a logical reason to this though, and I will get to that later on in the video. But yes, as I say, the main reason I wanted this set so badly as a child was because of this Lugia figure. The irony of it was, however, that I was so afraid of losing the Lugia figure that I actually kept it in a box for most of the time that I've had it. So it didn't actually get played with very much, which again was the entire idea of getting the set. Don't get me wrong though, however, I do like the set and I absolutely loved it then. It was more of a sort of a beneficial side effect rather than, the reason I wanted the set itself. Just do a sort of a go around quickly. I'll put these down on the floor. I think it's a fairly nice sort of recreation of Shamuti Island. You've got your indentation for the bridge here. This set did not come with a bridge, unfortunately. At least I don't think it did. And as I've said before, if it did, it's long lost now. Very nice recreation of the shrine area, which is arguably sort of the main area of the film. Unfortunately, it does take up a good portion of the island, but, we're looking for playability here rather than accuracy. Got the nice little beach hut, totem pole, little palm tree, I'll tell you about that palm tree in a minute, and a lighthouse. Now, as you can see, the palm tree actually comes off, and not only does it come off, but it actually splits into two incredibly tiny pieces. And I have to say, it is a bit of an accomplishment for me. It's something I'm very proud of, that in all these years, after all the moves that I've gone through, of all the things I've lost, and believe me, I have lost some much bigger things than this little palm tree. Of all the things that I've lost, of all the things that have gone missing, I have actually held on to this little palm tree. And I'm very proud of that. And I'll show you what I actually use for that. I've actually been keeping the figures for the larger set in this little speedo box. Has a blue tack marking and everything on it. The box held my goggles. I briefly joined the swim team in Israel. Can't find the goggles. As I've said, lost much bigger things than this little palm tree. Long lost the goggles. But the box, however, was the absolute perfect size for holding all my ChibiPokeHouse figures that come with the larger sets, and that can't be contained within the set. And actually, there are a couple of sets that are sort of self-contained, that are portable, so to speak. And so, yes, when I wasn't playing with the set, I made absolute certain to make sure that the tree went into the box as well. Not only have I put the tree in there, but I didn't know if this was supposed to come out, but I was so afraid of losing it that I also put the totem pole in the box. And on top of that, the lighthouse comes apart, and I even took the lighthouse and put it in the box. So, other than the playmat, everything on this set is the original piece for it. I mean, this... it's arguably my best preserved set, simply because of the fact that I have managed to not only hold on to the set itself compared to the other two I had at the time, but the tiny, minuscule pieces it comes with. And I have no idea why this palm tree is actually even a thing on this set. There's only one on the entire set, and it just seems like something that, you know, a young child would lose in seconds. I'll do a quick sort of preview of the showing of the features of the set. Very much like the Type B, as you can see, it's a smaller set, so it doesn't have quite as many features to it. And again, as a smaller set, I don't actually think the features are that impressive, save for one. But again, designed for young children, so perhaps, you know, I'm thinking a bit too much like an adult about this. Okay, so the first is you can spin the rock, and the lighthouse goes round and round. Unfortunately, this did actually used to be white, and the indentation used to be clear. Unfortunately, it is now a disgusting yellow colour, but as this set is about 16, 17 years old, I'm not actually surprised. The next feature is, of course, Lugia's water spout. Has these two pegs on the top, as you can see. And Lugia's got little pegs in his paws. And what you can do is stick him on the water spout, press it down, and he rises. It's an adequate recreation of his water spout. Unfortunately, the spout itself doesn't rise quite as nicely as it did once upon a time. I made the mistake of taking this set and playing with it in the sand, and I think a few grains of sand kind of got caught in the mechanism, and it just didn't rise quite as well. It tends to rub a bit against the background here, and you can actually see some of the paint has actually rubbed off, which probably wouldn't have happened had I not put it in the sand. The final feature, of course, I'm going to take this palm tree off, just in case. The final feature, of course, revolves around the shrine here. Now, first thing you can do is you can actually take the top of the shrine off, and I think they've actually done a very nice job of recreating the shrine face with the little tablet and everything. It's got little writing on it, it's got some nice decorations. Unfortunately, the indentations are hollow, otherwise you'd be able to see through it and, you know, to the spheres. The interesting thing is, it actually looks to me like they've taken a purple, you know, Sharpie and actually gone over the details in it, which, you know, they may well have done. And anyway, inside the shrine are the spheres from the film. one for each of the islands, fire, ice and lightning. And what you can do, unfortunately this set is actually out of batteries, so I can't actually show you the feature. This column here, you can press it down and it will light up red, very much like the Type B set. I think it's actually a much more impressive effect than the flashing effect on the Type B. I think it makes more sense, given that I think during the film the columns actually lit up when the girl was playing that song towards the end of the film. Correct me if I'm wrong. The other thing I like is that they've given the shrine floor itself a very sort of nice translucent blue material. And again, I think it actually might have turned a bluish colour towards the end of the film. So again, very nice sort of recreation there. You can see little indentations actually in the floor. So they've actually done, I think, a really nice job of recreating the shrine in obviously not size accurate, but very nice playset form. Now, I mentioned earlier that the set came with very few figures, and I had an idea as to why it probably came with so few figures. Now, you might have noticed as I've been tilting the set and rotating it that on each of these cliffs there is a small hole. When I first got the set, I assumed that it was either a factory error or a design to the playset where, you know, when they were moulding it or baking it, it was just something that happened with the mould, or something that allowed, you know, heat and air to escape so that it was able to form properly. I thought as well that it was different places, you know, to put the totem pole, which I'm trying desperately to lose now. But no, it wasn't until I started actively collecting the line of ChibiPokeHouses that I actually figured out on my own what they were for. I was doing a photo shoot for my website a few years ago, and since it's Shamuti Island, I wanted to place it and, you know, sort of pair it up with the 3 Legendary Bird Island sets. So as I was taking the picture, each of the little sets, it comes with, you know, obviously the bird figures, so Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, and in each of the sets is a little water spout, and at the top of the water spout is a sort of a peg where you can stick the bird on top, and at the bottom is a slightly wider peg that goes into each of the individual sets. Now, as I was posing them with the sets, these holes here suddenly caught my eye, and I saw there were 3 of them. There are 3 birds, 3 water spouts, and I tested it, and it turns out that these 3 holes are actually where you can stick the birds on their respective water spouts. I think I said in my past video I was going to do the 3, you know, island sets, regardless of whether or not I did the whole clamshell set line, simply because of how they related to Shamuti Island, and that's exactly what I'm going to do in a later video. But I took a picture of the 3 birds stuck, you know, into the indentations, and I have to admit, it looked absolutely fantastic, especially compared when you put Lugia sort of on his water spout. I thought it looked like an absolutely sort of fantastic recreation of the Shamuti Island battle. So, as I said, I think that's actually probably why this came with so few figures, because rather than, you know, filling up the set with its own figures, I mean, it was also sort of a clever marketing trick, but you're supposed to actually get the smaller sets as well and fill them in yourself. On the one hand, very sneaky, whoops. On the other hand, very clever, I think, and as I've said, I've tried it out for myself, I've taken pictures of it. I'm going to link my ChibiPokeHouse resource site underneath, so you can have a look for yourself if you're interested. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. I think it looks really cool. It's definitely something that would have excited me very much as a child, and even as an adult I think it's a very fun little feature, even if it does sort of get you to buy more of the you know, the toy sets in the line. Other than that, though, there is not much else to say about the set. I did mention in my past video that the Type B was very difficult to find. Well, I hate to say it, but this is even more difficult to find. I'm very glad that this set actually survived the move from Israel. Even if it was actually my least favourite of the three sets, I'm glad it survived the move because I could not find it anywhere online. I think I may have seen it once in 6-7 years on the Yahoo Japan auctions website. I might have also seen it once on eBay, but I cannot remember for the life of me. I'm going to use the same analogy I used in my last video. To put that in perspective, I have seen the holographic Newt Gunray figure appear online about 5 times, you know, since I started collecting ChibiPokeHouses. So, if you are looking to buy this set, it will require a fair amount of patience. Other than that, though, as I've said, there's not much to say about this set. It's a fun little set. I wouldn't call it absolutely essential unless you're, you know, a completionist like I am. Sorry, I beg your pardon, my throat is awfully dry today. But beyond that, you know, it's a fun set. If you're looking to get the set, I would recommend wholeheartedly getting the 3 Legendary Bird Island sets to go with it. I think the oh, terribly sorry about this. I think the 4 sets work much better as a unit than individually. Even though the Ice Island set in particular is actually lovely. I love that set. The island sets, actually, I have seen those on eBay. I see them quite frequently. More often Fire Island and Lightning Island. Ice Island is a bit of a hit and miss. I actually didn't even know Ice Island existed until, gosh, it must have been 2010. Again, when I started earnestly collecting these, because when they had the sets on the old Pokemon Center website, they only had Lightning Island and Fire Island, and I thought, you know, at the time they just didn't bother to make an Ice Island. But yes, as I've said, I think the 4 work much better together than individually, and again, if you've got a child who's getting into Pokemon, I mean, put it this way, if I had been given this set plus the 3 island sets, that would have been an absolute dream come true. I never would have asked for anything ever again. Well, maybe not quite that far, but it's a great set to have. It's a great set for children to play with. Again, it's not quite as impressive as some of the other sets, but it's a fun set nonetheless. It brought me hours of entertainment as a young child, and I'm still quite glad, you know, to have it and see it on the shelf now. That's it though. Thank you very much indeed for watching. If you've liked what you've seen, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, give it a share, show all your friends, have a laugh. And that's it. If you've enjoyed the ramblings of a madwoman, I've got plenty of other reviews, both Pokemon and Star Wars, with many, many more reviews to come, branching out into other lines, and even some narration to look forward to. So, for now though, thank you very much indeed for watching, and may the Force and Neimoidians be with you.